Hey, so welcome back to Read the Bible with me. We are looking at Luke 12, verses 49 to 59. Some tough verses, honestly. But let's have a look and we'll just dive right in. I don't even know how to introduce this one. Jesus has been talking about the kingdom coming, about being ready, about the master honoring servants who actually prepare and are ready for him, and how crappy it's going to be for those who choose to reject him. So he's not having fun either. So let's just read what he has to say. He says in the New Living Translation, accessed from YouVersion, I have come to set the world on fire, and I wish it were already burning. I have a terrible baptism of suffering ahead of me, and I'm under a heavy burden until it's accomplished. Do you think I've come to bring peace to the earth? No. I've come to divide people against each other. From now on, families will be split apart, 3 in favor of me and 2 against, or 2 in favor and 3 against. Father will be divided against son, and son against father, mother against daughter, daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. You get the picture. Then Jesus turned to the crowd and said, when you see clouds forming to the west, you say, here comes a shower. And you're right. When the south wind blows, you say, today's going to be a scorcher, and it is. You fools, you know how to interpret the weather signs of the earth and sky, but you don't know how to interpret the present times. Why can't you decide for yourselves what is right? When you're on the way to court with your accuser, try to settle the matter before you get there. Otherwise, your accuser may drag you before the judge, who will hand you over to an officer who will throw you into prison. And if that happens, you won't be free again until you've paid the very last penny. So yeah, some heavy stuff here. You know how we can feel truly happy but also deeply sad at the same time? Like when someone's child gets married, I imagine there would be a lot of that. They're happy for them, especially if they found somebody who really loves and appreciates them. It's a celebration, but it's also the end of a chapter in their relationship, and it hurts to see them leave. When someone we love has suffered through illness and finally goes home to Jesus, it's devastating, but it's also comforting. Life is full of happiness that hurts and sadness that comforts. Being human on this planet is weird. And Jesus can identify with those kinds of feelings. He came to provide a rescue plan so that people could spend eternity in his presence, experiencing life as it was designed to be. He loved humans and our world so much that he was prepared to go through horrifying things to make this happen. He also knew that this precious nation through whom he had chosen to reveal himself and into which he chose to be born would be torn apart by the message he brought. Some would believe him and willingly give their lives to spread its message. Others would be so vehemently opposed that they would take the lives of those who followed him. Even within families and homes, people would be divided. Jesus, whose birth brought peace on earth and goodwill to men, also knew that his ministry would divide people. And in this moment, he just wants to get it over with. He goes on, he's frustrated that people aren't understanding who he is and what he's come to do. The signs are there. So many prophecies were fulfilled in the birth, life, and death of Jesus. If they had taken a closer look, they should have been able to figure it out. Jesus was the Messiah they had prayed for, but many just couldn't see it. Jesus says it's as obvious as knowing which direction the wind is coming from, but people are still missing it, and that would divide them bitterly. He appeals to them to think with their own minds. Yes, there are judges who can make decisions for them, but his listeners have minds too, and he appeals to them, judge for yourselves what is true. If you rely on those in authority to make every decision for you, you could pay a very high price. When each person ultimately stands before God, the only true judge, at the end of their lives, we won't be able to point at others and say, well, he said. We will answer for what we knew and what we should have been able to figure out. They and we need to pay attention to the scriptures that explain who the Messiah will be and what he will do. Just as in the parable about the servants who were left to take care of their master's home, we are responsible for our own behavior in proportion to the information we have available. In the case of the nation of Israel, it was all there in the scriptures they had been given. So, that's what Jesus is talking about in this passage, as far as I can tell. If anybody has any other insights, please join into the conversation. Would love to hear what you guys think. It's a tough one. Jesus experienced real discouragement, but in a way, it's kind of gracious of him to have been so open with us. Because sometimes we get discouraged too.